point. They had this game well in control.
They took control early, and they never let up. The scary thing about this team, if they keep their foot on the gas and then throttle down, they can win this game by 50.
George. Another chance. Kenneth Faried rejects it.
You know, sometimes basketball can become a very beautiful thing to watch. During the regular season, things can get difficult. Energy can be low. The passion at times can even be lower because players are tired. They're fatigued. But today, it's all been good. They're putting in an absolute show with killer efficiency and tremendous effort and intensity.
Rockets in control of the basketball. Paul George with a piece.
Here's one of the biggest secrets as we move into this new age of basketball, especially in the draft room. You have to draft players with size and length. That's the biggest deterrent for any team offensively.
And scores on the step back. Unguardable, Jay.
Ed, I have so much admiration for guys that continue to hunt their shot. They're playing the second half like it was the first 5 minutes of the ball game. Those natural-born leaders are guys that will consistently lead your team to the promised land.
To Rivers. Harden. And he hits.
You know, it reminds me, Ed, of a story a legendary coach once told me. He said, if you ever get in a fight, you're not going to hit somebody with an open hand, correct? You'll probably break a finger. But if you hit somebody with a fist, what is that? That's 5 fingers working collectively together as one. That's how you deliver a knockout punch, and that's what we're seeing tonight.
Clippers have the basketball. George. Takes stock of the floor. Straight down the middle of the lane. Way to punch it home. Jay, that's been the story this evening.
I mean, another one? Another dunk? Another easy possession? I mean, how demoralizing can this be for the team? Why am I the only one yelling? I don't see anybody on the bench yelling. I don't see anybody on the court even angry right now.
Hey, in front of, watch the shot. Watch the shot. Shot.
Leonard. Harden. 10 threes for him now in the game, Jay. Just astonishing.
And I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's only happened 30-something times since the three-point line went into effect in 1979. Goes to show you how big of a night he's having.
How old were you back then?
I was not born yet, my friend.
Boom, baby. Harden in possession. His guys hold a commanding lead. And a nice finish at the rim.
Ooh, shows like this separate the good players from the great ones. The good players, they have good first halves, and then they fade to black in the second. The great players, they just sustain that kind of dynamic energy throughout the entire ball game.
Both coaches dipping into their reserves. Changes coming onto the floor. George, love the hustle. Sprawl down on the deck. From long range. To P.J. Tucker. Tough-looking shot there. Still gets it to go down.
Well, we got a chance to firsthand watch something be created. I think we just watched an epidemic of passing. I've never seen something like this before. It was so contagious, everybody started to do it, and it ultimately led to the other team's demise.
If that's an epidemic, sign me up. And they called a foul. Felt the breeze there, Jay.
His timing was a tad bit off.
Westbrook inside for 2.
Why not? Russell Westbrook is the only guy stopping Russell Westbrook. And when he decides to put his head down and go to the rim, he's going to the rim. It's that easy.
And that's going to be out of bounds off of George. James Harden at the controls. And Jay, they called the foul.
Those cat-like hands almost got a steal.
second personal foul. Team foul number 2.
Harden against Paul George. Trying to cash in with the fadeaway. Burns him for the basket.
Sometimes when the players find that flow, nobody else needs to touch the ball. He's in the zone by himself.
Nice pass to get things going.
Look, there was barely any contact on that last play. I agree with the ref's no call. Let him play.
To Westbrook. Beyond the arc for 3.
Rebound.
All the breaks you good in crib. It's me, I got it.
To Paul George. Strong finish for Paul George.
Some players are so cerebral. I'm not even paying attention to the dunk as much as I'm paying attention to the player pointing and communicating to everybody his team needs to guard on the next play down the court.
Fires the 3, and the rebound comes down to Green. He throws it down.
And when you get your prescription, you take your medicine and you call it a day.
Russ at the controls.
I got him. I got ball.
To Capella. And look out.
This type of game needs to be celebrated. This is the type of culture that is fostered when you play with unselfish players. When you give up a little bit of yourself and you make your teammate look great, that's the difference between winning and losing. So when you see these guys smiling, when you see them giving each other high fives, that's because of the energy that was created from the pass. Pass is one of the most brilliant things we have in this game.
Russell Westbrook against George. And scores.
This type of game needs to be celebrated. This is the type of culture that is fostered when you play with unselfish players. When you give up a little bit of yourself and you make your teammate look great, that's the difference between winning and losing. So when you see these guys smiling, when you see them giving each other high fives, that's because of the energy that was created from the pass. Pass is one of the most brilliant things we have in this game.
Doc Rivers making some changes to his lineup. George, defended by Eric Gordon. Got it.
Attack mode isn't a switch that you can just turn on and off. He needs to do more of that. We need to see him penetrate, get into that lane, and create.
Russell Westbrook with the rock. Russell Westbrook powers it through. At this point, they're twisting in the wind.
Were you looking for a response from me? Because I don't really know what else there is to even say. I mean, is this even a game? I mean, we should just start packing up and getting ready to go right now.
To Leonard. Count the basket inside.
You normally don't see that, but that's the type of thing that keeps shooters in the league for a long time. Every once in a while, they venture into the paint.
Fires the 3, buries the 3. He's too good to leave that open.
Ooh, that confidence level is so superior. Whenever you start jogging back on defense before the ball even goes through the net, that speaks for itself.
Goes reverse to lay it in.
Contact on a drive can be a beautiful thing. Making those tough shots can really help you build a mental advantage over your defender.
Westbrook. To George. Lets it fly from beyond the arc, and the rebound corralled by Westbrook.
The game is won in the details. The team who has the most attention to the minutia is a team that wins the ball game. And from the beginning of this game, this team has been mentally engaged. I know the season's a long year, but when you come mentally engaged and you have attention to detail, whew, that's a scary thing to watch.
P.J. Tucker with the block. Out of bounds the call off P.J. Tucker. Beverly. And the rebound taken in by George. The rebound belongs to Houston. Harden to P.J. Tucker. And the rebound taken in by Beverly. To Paul George. Harden with the rebound.
And you knew this game had a chance to get out of hand pretty quickly because of the communication. When these guys stepped on the court, Ed, they were yapping back and forth to each other. And that kind of communication, that kind of collective responsibility to one another, you feel that on the court. That's why this team is special.
Leonard, and that'll get out of bounds. Last touch by the Clippers. Now it's Harden at the controls. Here's a chance from long range. I don't know, Jay. They have a big lead. This game is just about over. You might not make many friends on the other side with that three.
Oh, I don't want to hear that generic coaching speak about dwindle down the shot clock, use the clock is your friend. No, if you have a chance to beat them by 50, beat them by 50. If you want to beat them by 100, keep shooting more threes.
And scores.
You know, from a point guard perspective, one of the things that I learned when I played in the league was that the more I was willing to give the ball up, the harder other players were willing to run to their spots. The harder the bigs were running to the rim. The harder the three-point shooters were running to the three-point line because they knew they could be active recipients. And when they caught the ball, they knew exactly what to do with it.
Desperation shot here from half. Oh, how about that? A three at the buzzer. That's going to bring some icy stares from the other bench. This one is now all over.
Here, and I've got your EA Sports post-game wrap-up. The Rockets were solid in today's victory. Sometimes a team can hurt itself by being too aggressive on defense, and sometimes a team can guarantee itself a win by using defensive aggression in a focused way, like we saw here today. The Rockets can point to these guys for their scoring output. The Clippers couldn't put it together to get the victory here today. I'm sure they can't help but feel frustrated with the result, but they can't let that feeling linger. Sooner than later, they need to start thinking about the next matchup. Here are the guys who put up the most points for the Los Angeles Clippers.
Game track. Fast break points.
As you can see in the highlights,
Player of the game.
James Harden. Here we go with the top 3 plays.
Game track. Fast break points.
These guys walked in with the game plan, and they walked out with the win. And these highlights, they tell even more of the story.
Player of the game.
James Harden was aggressive today with his scoring, getting his points right at the basket. He put down a crazy number of dunks in today's matchup. Here we go with the top plays.
Number 2. Number 1.
The Rockets. And that does it for our post-game wrap-up. On behalf of ESPN on EA Sports, I'm Jalen